I know what conventional remote control units are like, the kind you've seen operate. They perform a few standard operations. For instance, any unit will turn the picture on and off, change channels, give you a couple of changes in volume. Isn't that what you've seen?
Well, yes. I didn't know there was anything different.
This 7-function remote control unit for color television is different. First, let's turn the picture on. Now, here's something important in convenience. We keep our finger on the same button, and the volume comes up steadily. In other words, continuously variable volume control, up or down the scale.
You're quite right. I haven't seen this on the units that I've been shown elsewhere.
It's not an ordinary feature, that's for sure. In a minute, I'm going to show you a feature that's unique with RCA Victor. But first, I want you to see a couple more controls that are pretty important. These 2 buttons allow you to vary the color intensity, like this. Color intensity up, color intensity down. Makes you feel like an artist with a brush. You can paint the picture any way you want it. And there's a tint control. 2 important ways. First, this button. Look, it adjusts the picture toward green, if that's what it needs and what you like. The other button adjusts toward purple. Now for a feature you will find in no other make of remote control television. Press this button. It turns off the picture. Keep pressing the same button a little bit longer, and it turns off the entire set. Completely off by remote control. I'll bet that's something you haven't seen before.
It certainly is. And you know what I'm thinking?
Yes, here's a man who's got it made. He's going to sit in his favorite chair, and he's going to watch TV for the rest of the evening, and he isn't going to move from his chair. Believe it or not, his set is going to turn itself on and off, and even switch channels by itself. Throughout the evening, it will automatically turn to his favorite programs. To see how this is possible, let's go back to a few minutes before he sat down. Let's see how he was able to program his complete television evening. Here's the secret. It's the new RCA Victor programmer model. It's television that thinks for itself. And here's probably the biggest news-making feature that has been introduced since TV began. It's RCA Victor's new and exclusive Magic Memory Program Selector that accomplishes what no other TV has been able to do. This new Magic Memory Program Selector is clock-controlled and lets owners pre-select up to a full 12 hours of television enjoyment. Basically, the new Magic Memory Program Selector is simple to operate. Along here are the channel indicators. Across the top here are the time indicators. They are broken down into half-hour segments. The hours are clearly marked, and of course the lines between each of the hours are the half hours. So it's as simple as this. Let's say that at 7 o'clock you want the set to turn on to channel 4. Simply slide the 7 o'clock button up the scale to channel 4. Now let's say you want your set to change to channel 6 at 8 o'clock and to go off at 8:30. Very simple. Just slide the 8 o'clock button to the channel 6 position and the 8:30 button to the off position and that's all there is to it. So now it is easy to understand why he can relax for the evening, never having to get up to change channels or turn the set on and off. No more of that frustrating snap of the fingers when he's just missed his favorite program. It's all pre-selected and done automatically with the greatest innovation since TV began. It's RCA Victor's new programmer with the news-making Magic Memory Program Selector. The Magic Memory Program Selector even remembers by itself to turn off the complete set even if the owner should forget. Yes, it's easy to see that this will be one of the most talked about new features of the year. RCA Victor's Magic Memory Program Selector that brings viewers automatic television by letting them pre-select up to 12 hours of television viewing. And it's exclusive with RCA Victor. Further evidence that when there's news to be made in the television field, RCA Victor makes it.
A beautiful living room that speaks silently of a decorator's touch. Notice the careful blending of fine furniture. Each piece complements the other, and together they add up to the tasteful decor of the room. But where is the television? It seems to be missing, but it isn't. This young housewife is able to blend her television right into the decorating scheme of her living room, just the way she prefers it. Her choice for television is the new RCA Victor Hillsborough. When not in use, it is another piece of fine furniture serving a useful purpose, as you see here. And when the time comes for viewing pleasure, a touch of the fingertips and this beautiful piece of furniture converts into console TV in seconds. She simply folds back a section of the tabletop, swings up the TV set, and the wonderful Hillsborough is ready for television enjoyment. Yes, this new RCA Victor Hillsborough will be making big news this year as TV's most dramatic styling innovation of the year. It's Hideaway TV at its best. This beautiful new Hillsborough has exclusive New Vista styling, advanced styling to suit the taste of those who desire the latest in tasteful television design. And when it is time to turn off the Hillsborough, it is easily hidden and converts into a pleasing piece of furniture again. Yes, this exciting new Hillsborough is just one of many new RCA Victor newsmakers.
Hi, Bill. Got time for a cup?
Oh, hi, Bob. I'll buy that idea. Thanks for thinking of me.
Don't mention it. Here, don't spill it.
Thanks.
I see you're working on a new model.
Oh, no work involved. I'm just familiarizing myself with these new ones.
Man, I don't envy you. You know, it's a pleasure to be out in front selling them. Well, I wouldn't know how to begin on servicing one. I'd get lost in there.
What do you mean?
Well, I grant you, it's the best set in the house as far as performance goes. That makes it easy to sell. With all those new features, it must be something to work on.
Well, you just stand by for one of Uncle Bill's handy-dandy lectures on the serviceman's dream. Watch closely, Bob, and let the old master show you why this new RCA Victor set is a cinch to service.
Well, this I want to see.
When they designed this new RCA, they didn't forget about the boys in the service department. You see, RCA Victor has a regular serviceability committee that works right with the boys who design these sets. And it's really paying off. Each year, these RCA Victor sets get easier to service. And this year, they've really made a giant step forward.
Well, how's that? They done something different?
Well, there's several reasons, Bob. For instance, what's the biggest reason sets need service?
Oh, that's easy. Tube replacement. Like light bulbs, they wear out.
They sure do. So that means that most of my work is with tubes. Now answer me this one. What do you notice about this new RCA Victor chassis?
You're asking me? Once you get the back off, I'm lost.
Well, let me show you. Like I said, most of my work is with tubes, right?
Right.
Now with this chassis, notice that all the tubes are right here at the back of the chassis where I can get at them easily. No hidden tubes here. If I have to remove a tube, I remove it. I don't have to take out two other tubes first.
So the tubes are easy to get at. What else?
Well, from any angle you want to go at it, this new chassis has got something to offer the serviceman. Now, here's another, for instance. This set uses a power transformer, TV's most dependable power supply, and to a serviceman, that means it's simpler to work with.
Simpler than what?
Simpler than working with a series string chassis. And notice all the air I have in here.
Air? What do you mean, air?
Well, you know, air, breathing space, room to work. Look how easy it is for me to get in here to work.
Oh, yeah, I see what you mean.
And here's something else that makes a lot of sense to me. This new chassis has been designed to eliminate a lot of trouble before it even gets a chance to happen. You see this here?
I see it, but it doesn't mean a thing to me.
Well, it means a lot to me, and this is something you can use with your customers. It's called a HumiGuard capacitor, and this new RCA Victor uses a lot of them. It has a special coating on it that withstands 4 times the humidity exposure the old-fashioned paper capacitor will take. And this cuts down on service calls, especially in your high humidity areas. Now, here's another protection item, and a very important one. It's a tube guard.
Now, that's one I know something about. It gives reliable protection against that first big power blast when the set's turned on, right?
Right. And that power blast when a set is turned on is the main cause of TV tube replacement. But with this tube guard, every tube in an RCA Victor chassis, including the picture tube, warms up gradually, safely. And as a result, the tubes in this set last longer.
You know, information like that makes my job of selling a lot easier, Bill.
Oh, good. Now, here's another important protective feature. This is RCA Victor's chemical fuse. And what it does, Bob, is eliminate unnecessary service calls by giving complete protection, yet it doesn't blow from the short, non-dangerous overloads that open ordinary fuses. And what I like about it is that it isn't buried in the chassis. If it ever does need replacement, it's right here where I can get at it easily and quickly.
Cuts down on the time you spend on the set, huh?
Right again, Bob. And look at this. If I have to get at the high-voltage rectifier tube, all I do is lift up the snap-on cover shield. Another time saver. And when I've finished, just snap it shut. Easy. And speaking of saving time, look at this. All the service technician's adjustments I need to get at to give you that perfect picture you sell out on the floor are right here where I can get at them easily and quickly. The vertical linearity control, the vertical height control, and keyed AGC, or as you know it, automatic channel equalizer. And right here are the horizontal width and horizontal drive.
Hey, security seal circuits.
Yeah, that's right, Bob.
The distributor man was in the other day, and he showed me this. Let me practice up on you, and you check me on it and see if I've got my story straight, okay?
Okay, shoot. But keep your order pad in your pocket. I've already got a set.
Well, sir, this is the famous RCA Victor security seal circuit. It seals in quality and seals out trouble. These RCA Victor security seal circuits are the same type specified for use in many vital defense projects involving missiles and electronic guidance systems where dependability, pinpoint accuracy, and quality are a must. And in your RCA Victor, you'll be getting the same dependability, quality, and performance with this already famous security seal circuit. And its quality is consistent. The first one is just like the 20 millionth. How does that sound for a start? Okay?
Okay. But let your Uncle Bill show you what these security sealed circuits mean to him. Now, here's the beauty of the security sealed circuit from the serviceman's point of view. First of all, the tubes and just about all the components are mounted on the same side of the panel. And here's something really new and helpful to me. Working with a new RCA Victor circuit is just as easy as driving from New York to Chicago on a superhighway with a good road map.
Just a minute, Professor. You lost me. Somewhere around Poughkeepsie. I don't follow you.
Well, I actually do have a road map to follow when I'm working with any of the circuits on the new RCA Victor models. The circuit is traced right here on the board, and the components are numbered right on the board. I don't have to go wandering through the schematic to find the number of a component I want to replace, and believe me, brother, that is one big time saver.
Even I can see how that would save you a lot of time. Why didn't somebody think of that years ago?
Oh, look, pal, I just thank my lucky stars that RCA Victor has it now. And look at this. In many cases, I can probe test like this. Very simple, very easy.
Well, looks like you're in for a good year, Bill. Guess the only time we'll hear you hitting the roof around here is when you have to pull that chassis a half hour before quitting time.
It only takes a couple of minutes. You can pull the chassis from the rear by just taking out 6 screws. Don't have to go around to the front at all. But the big point is, I can pull the chassis like you see it here and keep my Kinney on. The leads are all long enough so that I don't need any patch cables. And then, too, my major connections are plug-ins. I can just unplug my main tuner connections and I can just pull off my speaker leads. No cutting, no soldering back on. And look at this, my friend. Presto, and my kinescope is disconnected. Now I ask you, Bob, is this new RCA Victor chassis designed with a serviceman in mind, or isn't it?
Bill, I'm on your side. You sold me. And speaking of selling, I better get back out front.
One more thing, Bob. Don't forget, when you're selling, you can use a lot of what I just told you with the customers. After all, they're interested in how easy it is for their sets to be serviced, just like I am. Remember, they have to foot the bill, and as you know, service time is money. This new RCA Victor chassis cuts down on a lot of service time because it makes my job easier and faster.
You've got a point, Bill, a good point.
Do me a favor, if anyone should ask you, tell them for me that my money is on the new RCA Victor television, for viewing pleasure and for working pleasure.
Okay, I will.
Don't go away. You're in the right place. This is a picture about television sets. Believe it or not. I get a charge out of working with television sets, particularly when I can show important features in terms of things people are familiar with. Makes the features easier to understand and maybe even more believable than some of the real technical terms. That's why this unusual collection of, well, things. I'd like to show you just a few of the most outstanding features of the new RCA Victor black and white television chassis. This is a different way to visualize the features and the benefits for prospects. Over here, for instance. You know how the picture on some television sets sometimes wiggles and weaves, looks like it's on one of those funhouse mirrors? Well, RCA Victor has a special doojigger just made to correct that particular annoying condition. The engineers say it's a horizontal balanced phase detector. I call it a weave stopper because it keeps the picture from weaving. The weave stopper not only takes the weave out, it locks it out. Just like that. You don't have to retune or readjust. Here's something else. You know how the automatic choke on your car's carburetor stops bucking and stalling, yet keeps it smooth when the engine's warmed up? Well, this year, RCA Victor has a new ultra-efficient yoke guard, which keeps the picture from buckling and flexing. Makes for a clear, undistorted picture by controlling current flow when cabinet interiors warm up. Like clean, sharp TV pictures? The new signal guide tuner for 1960, with 3 powerful circuits, and the super signal guide provide clean, sharp pictures in all normal signal areas. Not only do these circuits boost weak signals, but an electronic trap snaps up interferences before they get to the picture tube. The bigger tuner, the Cascode, I call it the 2x4, is even more powerful. It amplifies incoming signals twice and also uses 4 circuits to get super sharp pictures in those weak signal or fringe areas. The Cascode tuner also has the vital interference trap, which takes out troublesome interferences before they spoil the picture. Now, features like these give you sharp, clear pictures, but you need power to make the picture bright. RCA offers chassis that deliver 20,000 volts of picture power. But hold on, that's only half the story. It's the number of volts a given set delivers with a picture that counts. Lots of manufacturers claim high voltage for their TV receivers, and they may have it in the no picture condition. But check them on voltage with a picture, and you'll see that RCA Victor sets have up to 2,000 more volts. And if you're daylight viewing, this difference in voltage can seem like the difference between this and this. And it takes RCA Victor's really bright picture for enjoyable daylight viewing, for demonstration in a store, or for those people who normally watch in a room that's brightly lighted. Now, when you combine this high picture power with RCA's aluminized Silverama picture tube, what do you get? You get pictures that are up to 25% brighter, a whole fourth brighter. And don't let customers take this for granted. On lots of Bojack sets, when you turn the knob to get more brightness, all you get is distortion. Now, more good news. An RCA chassis with high-level contrast control. Let's move in close on this frame scale, and you'll see what I'm getting at. This is the kind of contrast range you get with an ordinary television set. Dark gray on the low end, light gray on the high end. Drab, washed out, like a drizzly day in December. Now, let's move back slowly, and you'll see the contrast range you get on an RCA Victor television set. How about that? What's more, this feature lets you turn to maximum contrast without tearing the picture. Another plus, typical of RCA Victor quality. So, you can talk real snap and contrast, and you can demonstrate it. But there's more. Some people want a picture that's extra hard and contrasty. Others like a soft picture. That's why RCA Victor's Clarity Control is such a desirable feature. Clarity Control lets you harden or soften the TV picture, much as the tone control on a Victrola phonograph lets you emphasize highs or lows. Equally important, Clarity Control helps get rid of snow and ghost effects in the picture, a real plus to many customers. Talking about pictures, you know how a light meter measures light for you. And on newer cameras, it even controls the amount of light for exposures. Well, these new chassis have a device that does a similar job. It's the automatic channel equalizer, sometimes called the automatic gain control, or AGC. When you switch from channel to channel, this equalizer, using a special additional tube, senses differences in signal strength the way a light meter senses differences in light values. The automatic channel equalizer then automatically compensates for these differences, so you seldom have any readjusting to do when you change channels. That's a real feature. But what about varying brightness on the same channel? You know, you're watching a night scene, the good guys are sneaking up on the bad guys, or vice versa. Anyway, it's pretty dark out when the picture suddenly changes to a brightly lit interior scene. Now, let's say on ordinary television sets, you tune for the best picture on the brightly lighted scene. That means the night scene will have far less realism. But RCA Victor has designed a feature to lick this problem. A special DC restoration circuit is put in for the express purpose of ironing out those differences. You get that desirable realism and fidelity on both very light and very dark scenes. You know the most exasperating thing in the world? It's having a serviceman make a $5 call to your home only to have him put in a 10-cent fuse. Brother, the customer doesn't like it. That's why RCA Victor put in another news-making feature, the Service Guard Chemical Fuse. You see, many such service calls came when a very brief overload, too short to do any harm, blew the fuse. Now, this new device has all but obsoleted old fuses. The secret? It won't blow when those harmless, momentary overloads come along. Watch. This crayon won't melt when I touch it briefly to a hot wire. But when prolonged, harmful overloads hit the set, the chemical fuse blows, disconnecting the set from the line current just as this crayon melts when I keep it in contact with the hot wire. And talk about protection. RCA Victor has a new tube guard to protect every tube in the set. Be sure to explain it to customers. You know, if you turn a lamp or the tubes in your television set on slowly, like this, they'll last much longer than if you turn them on in the usual way, like this. The tube guard permits only gradual warm-up of each tube, including the picture tube, until normal operating temperature is reached. With tube guard, all tube life is substantially increased because tubes are protected from those initial power surges. Is it important? Just remember how many service calls have been due to burned out tubes. Talk about features to protect the set. Here's another. This resistor is part of your tuner circuit. But because RCA Victor has it spring-mounted, it acts as a fuse as well. Watch what happens if a short overloads this resistor. Instant separation, instant cutoff of current to protect other chassis parts. Ever hear of noises committing suicide? Well, they do, thanks to the RCA Victor feature called the noise suicide circuit. Look over my shoulder a moment. It's like fighters throwing equal punches at one another. The gloves meet, and the blows are canceled out. Unwanted electrical noises, radiated by automobiles and electric devices, are turned against themselves, recirculated out of phase so they cancel one another. So the unwanted sounds never get to the speakers. And it's a good thing they don't, because this year, RCA Victor is using new, even more sensitive duocone speakers. The duocone is really two speakers in one. A brand new feature, these duocone speakers deliver more highs, more brilliance, more realism, more presence. In short, more fun. Let's move on to another big feature. Security sealed circuits. What's with this big feature? Well, compared to the old hand-soldered sets, here are the facts. First, they make possible higher standards. Uniform quality set after set after set. Second, they're rugged. with a capital R, resistant to shock, vibration, humidity, more compact, more foolproof. But let me show you. Talk about a newsmaker. This demonstration scoops the industry. This extra security sealed circuit, exactly like one in this chassis, is hooked up so the sound portion is in operation. Music from the set is carried through it to this speaker. Listen. Here's how security sealed circuits keep going in the face of any circuit's worst enemies, vibration and moisture. Still playing even after this rugged test. Proof of the outstanding durability of security sealed circuits by RCA Victor. Now, we don't recommend you water your set daily, but you do subject it to varying degrees of humidity and vibration in normal use year in and year out. One of the specific features that provides this performance and long life in RCA Victor chassis is the use of a special epoxy material for coated capacitors. Epoxy-coated capacitors keep operating long after ordinary capacitors are ruined by humidity. Watch this comparison. An ordinary capacitor and an epoxy-coated one now used by RCA. Note, they are both operating, but watch the needles on the voltmeters. See, the ordinary capacitor is beginning to leak, and the voltage is dropping rapidly. The new one featured in the RCA Victor chassis is still going strong. Still another outstanding feature of the new RCA Victor chassis. No wonder I'm carried away with these new black and white television receiver chassis. You can tell they're good, and you know the reasons why they're good. They're loaded with features, specific features. Features you can demonstrate or explain to prospects in terms they understand. These features mean value and enjoyment to your prospects, and they mean more sales to you. Give people the facts on these hidden features. Tell them and show them what's in a name, what's in a TV set that carries the name RCA Victor.